I am super stoked. Today is the first day of the Bravo class of Outlier University. I got goosebumps. I'm so excited. We are going to be changing lives over here. And so I'm going to introduce our students one at a time so that you can see who we're all going to be learning together with. Now, even though they are going to be live here in class with me, all of you watching live as well and on the replays can learn everything just as well. This is our service from Outlier to give you all the tools you need to be successful. We're not holding anything back. There is no like subscribe to this $1,000 a month package to get whatever. Everything is here. There is nothing else that I can do except give you my all. I hope that's all right. So let's start with Charlotte. Charlotte is here. Glad to see you, Charlotte. Then we've got Carol. We've got Rick Warfish, whose songs just like that one live in my head rent free all day, every day. We have a skinny / buff guy named William. We've got Mark. We've got the senior Wahoo. We've got Shane. We've got Stocky Locky, and we have Kostya. We have a full class here. We have 10 people, including myself, and I am so stoked that we have all of you here. Now, before we get started, I want to take just a moment. Today is Veterans Day, and I wanted to recognize all the veterans and say thank you so much for your incredible service and sacrifice that you did for our family. Now, I know that we have people from all over the world here in class, in fact, which is super cool. So guys and gals, this is so weird. We're going to have girls in class this year, but you know what? You girls are going to do a fantastic job as well. Before we get started, I have asked everyone to keep their mics muted just in case there's any background noise or anything. Feel free to raise your hand with any questions in the chat. I know you're going to be loading up the chat. I unfortunately will have so much going on that I won't be able to look at the chat until later on. But if you have questions, the best thing that you can do is hold them till the end, please. I don't have anybody helping on the moderating the chat. Hold them till the end and then put a hashtag Q followed by your question. Now, we're going to be doing foundations of trading today. We're not getting too deep into anything just yet. But before we do that, I wanted to share with you a very motivational video, in my opinion. I love it so much. It's something that I have kept and I've downloaded, and it's very near and dear to my heart because every time I watch this video, it hits me right in the feels. I love that so much because I'm sure you, like I did, had people in your life telling you, you want to be a trader? That is a crazy idea. What do you basically are going to lose money. Why would you even try and do that? Right? And this was a dream that I had since the moment I came out of the womb. And it was not without the struggles, and we'll talk about, you know, what it takes to be a successful trader. But I love that so much because I can't tell you the number of people in my life who said, you can't do this. You can't be successful. And today, plenty of zeros in my bank account later, I beg to differ. Just look at the scoreboard is how I look at it. So I hope that motivates you guys. I hope that gets you so excited because Bravo class is going to change lives. The 9 students here in class, as well as all the people watching live and all the people watching on the replay, this is going to live out on YouTube forever, and hopefully we'll do the same to y'all's lives as it has to mine. So I'm super stoked. And with that being said, let's get right into today's lesson. So as a professional YouTuber, I need to share my screen. And again, as we are in class, if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand and I'll call on you as fast as I can. So welcome to Outlier University. This is where we help you save time, make money, and start winning with less risk. So if you're watching the replay or anything else, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. So this is week 1. I'll drop us off here for a moment. The foundations of trading. And so this is what we're going to cover today and next week. And we have quite a lot to go through, right? I'm trying to get this down to 6 total weeks. It may go more, it may go less, but it's going to be hard and fast. But a lot of you guys, if not guys and gals, a lot of you all have experience in the market. So that's going to make this a lot easier, right? But I don't want to discount the fact that there are so many people who are going to watch this at a different point in time in their trading careers. And I want to address everything all the way straight through because we all had to go through the very foundations of trading. So if you don't mind, I'm going to give a couple quick minutes to tell you about myself. I love the fact that apparently I totally jacked up my own bio right there. Hang on, give me just a second here. This professional YouTuber at work. Just a moment here. And one more spot. There we go. Look at that. It's like I knew what I was doing. There we go. Okay. My name is Christopher Ewell. Of course, you know me. I'm a random guy on the internet, but I am a fund manager, author, 2-time top 100 person in finance. And I was mentored by 5 of the market wizards. And let me tell you my first memories of stocks. So I remember being a kid at home, and my dad was telling me about how he just bought gold miners. And so I didn't really understand what that meant, but I remember I could put myself in that room as he's telling me the story. He's wearing a white t-shirt, V-cut t-shirt, and he's telling me about how he had just bought gold miner stock. And I was like, oh, okay. So explain that to me. He's like, well, if they strike gold, then we're gonna be rich, right? And the concept of that fascinated me. It's like, so if these people, whomever they are, wherever they are, find gold, then we as partial business owners will benefit from this. And so I really caught on to this. There's more to this than maybe what he's letting on, right? How could we be rich if these people find gold? And another thing that he would do is he would buy single shares of stock to give as gifts. I remember one Christmas he got 1 share of Harley Davidson as a gift, and he gave my mom 1 share of Microsoft as a gift. She worked as a controller, basically CFO role, for ages and ages. And so she was like, "Really? Microsoft, that's the gift you would give me?" So I just thought that was funny. I remember her response to that. But they also gave me a share of Sam Adams, which is the Boston Beer Company, when I graduated college, and they put on the bottom of the frame and said, "Here's some liquid assets for your portfolio." And I just thought that was super fun. And later on, I asked my dad about that. I was like, "Hey, how did it go with those gold miner stocks?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I lost my shirt on that trade." But you know what? That's okay. That was what started it to me. And when I was in college, I went to Henderson State University in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Yes, that's a real place, Arkadelphia, Arkansas. I got a BBA, a bachelor's in business management, and I worked at State Farm while getting my MBA in finance. And I graduated in December of 2008, which is possibly the worst time ever to graduate from college. But you know, something did great came out of this. I definitely met my wife there. That was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Now we'll talk about this later on, but having the right support system makes all the difference in the world to you. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for her. So next, my early career, and this is why I tell you guys, right? You're never going to find any sort of expose on me because I lay it all out there anyway. I got no skeletons in my closet ever to hide. In my early career, I worked at Raytheon from 2009 to 2012, and I worked in FP&A, that's financial planning and analysis. And during that time, I worked on my first trading models in 2009. Now, I remember one thing that I was trying to figure out was there a correlation in day of the week and how the stock moved during those days? Like, you know, on Mondays, the stock would do X, and on Tuesdays, it would do Y kind of thing. But my projects were the Predator and Reaper drones. I worked specifically on the missile targeting systems. This little ball hanging down below here, that's the MTS-B, missile targeting system B. And I just thought that was super cool. But there was a lot at Raytheon I didn't love. And Raytheon is a defense contractor, for those who don't know. I was not in the Air Force, but I did work directly with the Air Force on these projects. And then after I was done with Raytheon, I moved to a Union Standard Insurance Company. So my second insurance company at that point. And again, working in FP&A. And I was only there for 13 months. That was not my favorite place to be. While I was there, though, I picked up a CMA. That's called a Certified Management Accountant. And I still have that to this day. This is what it is, right? I'm not going to turn it off just because I got it. But my most recent job that I left was at Catalyst Corporate Federal Credit Union. And I worked there for a dozen years as an ALM consultant. That's asset and liability management. And so what I would do is I work directly with credit union CEOs, CFOs, everybody in the C-suite, and I would show them how to make more money with less risk. Sounds familiar, right? Now, what we would do is we would talk about interest rate risk. And so anytime the Fed would raise rates or lower rates, that would have a precipitous impact upon credit union balance sheets. And so either they'd be making more money or they'd be making less money if rates were to go up or down. And of course, there's what interest rate risk really boils down to is if you have a ton of assets that are super low in value. So for example, imagine that Kostya took out a mortgage at 3%, right? Now mortgages have gone up and they're at like 6.5% today or whatever they are. Kostya's mortgage is worth much less to the marketplace than it would be today. To that bank, to that credit union, his mortgage is probably worth 80 cents on the dollar because they don't want that anymore. That is money that's tied up for them that they can't go and make a new mortgage over to Charlotte at 6%, right? Now, for example, if rates then go down, Charlotte's mortgage becomes even more valuable because, hey, you know what? Her mortgage is now higher than the market rates, and Kostya's mortgage becomes more valuable because it gets closer to the market rates. So that's what I did for a dozen years, and it was fine. I didn't mind it, right? And I worked from home from 2020 to 2025, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. And I had no issues there. It was a good job that allowed me to trade while I was still working. Now, while I was there was a conversation in the office one day about Deutsche Bank. And I heard my boss and another colleague of mine talking about buying puts on Deutsche Bank. I remember specifically he said, well, if you feel like Deutsche Bank's going to go down so much, why don't you go out and buy puts on it? And I was like, I've heard of puts. It's been a minute. What are puts? What was he talking about there? So I pulled out my textbook, and I always keep it here, handy reference, so I can always refer back to it. And in this textbook, just absolutely blew my mind when I picked this book up. There were 2 tabs in this book, and those tabs are still there. There were one for options and one for bonds. And I go to the options page, and it says a put goes up in value as the price of the stock goes down. I was like, huh. Cool. Okay, well, how do we go, get these puts? So I'm Googling all around, right? And I pull up an options chain. And I've told this story before. You've heard me say it, but I got to a page that looked like this. And I remember the deer in the headlights look when I thought, I have no idea what all these numbers mean. I just want to make money. What do I do with this? Right? I'll never forget that. And so that set me down a rabbit hole. I am a rabbit hole kind of person, right? And so I obsessed over options. And when I say obsessed over options, I don't think you understand the level of obsession that I have. I literally was dreaming about iron condors. Like it became overwhelmingly obsessive, right? And what I found was, you know what? You can actually win with options with like 84% win rates. Huh. This sounds amazing, right? How could you go wrong with 84% win rates? And so I needed to open an account, and I cashed in a 401k that I had it rate down. I'd never contributed a single penny to, and I needed $5,000 to open my account. And after the taxes and fees, the exact amount came out, and I'll never forget this. I remember standing in the kitchen, ripping the envelope open, seeing the green check in my hands for $5,000.15. And that moment still gives me goosebumps because it's like I was on the right track. I was on path for exactly where I needed to be. That was a sign from God, no doubt, hands down about it. I was on the right path. And so I was like, all right, here we go. Let's start selling some options. I got some money. Let's go sell something, right? So I had the 84% win rates that I was promised, but I was losing money. Like a lot of money. And it seemed like I could never do anything right? It was just sell calls, just sell puts, just sell iron condors. And you're going to profit if the stock moves up, down, or sideways. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to profit all the time. That's what that 84% win rate means, right? You just collect money. But nobody explained to me the risk, right? Nobody explained to me that I'd be risking 10 to 1. 10 to 1 on my risk to reward. Wasn't ever going to happen. Like, legitimately, for every loss that I took, I needed 10 perfect trades in a row. Mathematically, it had negative expectancy. Even with an 84% win rate, and you risk 10 to 1, you would need a greater than 90% win rate to break even. To break even. I had negative expectancy. And there was no possible way that I could make the math work. And nobody told me about that, right? Nobody tells you that I had just discovered the hard way to trade, because they sell it like it's the sexiest thing in the world. Just sell options and collect the money. It doesn't get any easier than this. You're going to have 84% win rates, bro. Trust me, bro. It's going to be great. So, I was selling options and I kept depositing more money and depositing more money and depositing more money. And everybody that I followed was making money. So clearly I still had more to learn, right? Clearly it was me, and I needed to continue to make more deposits so I could figure this out, right? Everybody I followed was making money, or were they making money from me? Something didn't add up here. How could I be the only one who failed at selling options? How could I be the one person who dumped money after money after money in the market, still getting 84% win rates, yet losing money hand over fist? Something wasn't adding up here, and I lost over $200,000 selling options. Now, in the process, I did have one light bulb moment. I noticed that when I sold a put spread and a stock was trending up, now a put spread is a bullish trade. When I sold a put spread and the stock was trending up, by trading with the trend instead of against it, trading became that much easier. So I thought to myself, okay, how can I improve upon this? How can I actually make money in the market? So I got to thinking, okay, I'm going to start reaching out to people who I followed on Twitter, who I followed on the internet. It's like, I need to find people who have already made money in the market to teach me what to do, because I am not doing it right this way. Clearly, selling options is not going to work. So I reached out to many people, including Steve Burns, who became my greatest mentor. That's me and Steve. And I'll tell you what, Steve changed my life. Steve has changed y'all's life in the process, if you think about it. And one of the things that he talked about was expectancy. And I'll never forget when he told me this. I used to trade that way too, Chris. But then I realized I wanted to make money. And that was one of those like slap across the face moments, like, oh, okay. All right. That I see where you're going with this. I used to trade that way too, but then I realized I wanted to make money. So he taught me how to spot trends, and then how to trade with statistical edge. And I'll never forget him talking about constantly all the time. What is your edge? What is your edge? It has to be quantifiable. You can't make this up. What does the data show you? Right? He taught me how to mentally follow a plan. And honestly, he's the reason we're here today. Very honestly, he's one of the reasons that we are here today. And then, crazy as it sounds, and I still get goosebumps thinking about this, I actually got to work with the heroes, the greatest traders of all time, 5 of the market wizards, including Mark Minervini, Jason Shapiro, Larry Height, Tom Basso, and Jack Schwager. And all of these videos can be found on my YouTube channel. Just go to the playlist, go to the Market Wizard playlist. Receipts are there, right? So, I mean, it was such a blessing to be able to work with Steve, these market wizards, and all kinds of people who taught me how to trade correctly. And the things that they taught me were trend following, position sizing, trading psychology, cutting your losers, and letting your winners run out of control. You've probably heard what actually happens when you sell options, which is you cut your winners and you let your losers run out of control. Let's do it the correct way. That's what we're going to teach in Outlier University. And then I started working with a trading psychologist. And one of the biggest things he taught me was called personal agency. Okay. Now, for me, that was a hard concept because I always wanted to blame someone else, right? It's not my fault that I lost. It's not my fault. It's always the market, right? And that's when when I hear people saying, oh, the market makers are out to get you, oh, that this person's out to do this or that to you, it just makes me roll my eyes. It's like, stop acting like it's a you versus me thing. We all have one goal. It is to make money in the market, to have more money in our bank account today than we did yesterday. We get to go about it in any means that we choose to. But don't sit there and fearmonger and say, oh, this person's out to get you, it's rigged, blah, blah, blah. No, have personal agency here to know that you are in control of every trade. You decide when to get in. You decide how big you get in. You decide where you get out. But you cannot control what the market does when you're in the trade. And listen, as scary as that sounds, if it's not doing what you want, you get out. You don't have to hold it. That's the difference in investing and gambling. Because gambling, you're in it, you have no control. Once the game is over, the game is over. In investing, you can say, okay, let's see how it goes. This is working. Excellent. I can add to my position. I can let it run as long as I want to. The game ends when I tell it to. If I want to have a giant winner and it's working, I'm going to let that winner run as far as it can. If it turns around and it's working against me, I can get out anytime I choose. Imagine going to the casino and you're pulling the slot machine and you decide, you know what, this one's working, I'm just going to let it run. And it ticks and it ticks and it ticks and it ticks, and you're making more and more and more and more and more money. And then it starts slowing down. It starts to come down a little bit of money. You're like, okay, I got to get out here. Or you get into a trade and or get into a game and it doesn't go your way. And instead of losing your entire bet, you can say, oh, no, that's cool. I'm just going to take 2% off the top. That's it. There's a giant difference here, a huge difference here. And during the process of learning all this, right, I was documenting the journey. I started a podcast, and later on, I added that podcast to the YouTube channel. In fact, this blows my mind still to this day. In 2019, my podcast, just literally me talking to myself and guests on the podcast, had reached number 7 in the iTunes Investing Podcast. Number 7. That was bonkers. But I still didn't have a great grasp of understanding on how to find winners. And that's when these two gentlemen showed up. This is Mark Goriski, our chief strategist, and Mahesh Kashyap, our chief operating officer. These two guys changed the game, like legitimately changed the game. So Mark and Mahesh and I, we started working together, and they basically became a sponsor with their first venture called FinClub.ai. If you go watch some of my older videos, you're going to hear me talking about FinClub.ai. It is exactly Mark and Mahesh working on a project long before Outlier. But they had been working on Outlier in the background for years. And then one day they approached me because we already had an existing relationship. And they're like, hey, can we show you something amazing? And at first I didn't get it. I literally didn't get it. I remember specifically Outlier was nothing more than a kind of like a wave, right? A wave. And then the wave went from purple to yellow. And it had gradients of purple to yellow. And I remember Mark trying to explain it to me. I remember specifically, he went 2 hours trying to explain it to me. And by the end of that call, I'm like, I don't think I know anything more than I did at the beginning of this call. Like, this is so over my head. I can't do this. Right. So I didn't pursue it. It was there, but I didn't know what to do with it. And then 6 months later, the guys came back and they're like, hey, can we show you something amazing again? I'm like, okay, sure. Let's see how it goes this time. And at that point, they had completely overhauled the platform, totally overhauled the platform. It's not anywhere close to where it was today, but a completely different place that I actually understood what was going on. And then they started showing the results. Let me move out of the way here. And this was, daggum. I took off the name of the stocks, but I believe this is GameStop. 3,500%. Even when the stock was up 1,300%, Outlier was up 3,500%. I believe this one is Tesla. 1,294%. We're buying holds up 694. Yeah, that's Tesla. There's the market cycle right there. And this one, I believe, is MicroStrategy. 2,166% versus buy and hold at 1,576. So I'm looking at these and I'm like, these are already huge numbers, but then Outlier just like trounced the numbers on top of that. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy, right? And so I started trading with this, and these are my returns for the last few years. And I'm just putting 20% plus in 2025. My compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years has been over 43% since meeting Mark and Mahesh. These guys know what they're doing. And my company that I started in the process through all this, I sold to them and for equity in the company. And I'm like, all right, I want to be part of this. This is special, and I want to be here, right? I've made over 43% a year because of these guys. And I was making thousands of YouTube videos that nobody was watching. I was teaching these same concepts for years, over and over and over, and nobody was watching them. Let me show you what I mean by that. This one has 57 views, 13 views, 23 views, 20 views on this one over here. And this was a big one here, 203 views. Now, as you can tell, I'm pretty stubborn, right? Not only was I not going to let people stop me from trading, I wasn't going to let the fact that I had no idea what I was doing with the YouTube algorithm work against me stop me, right? It was not going to happen. So while I'm doing all this, right, I'm still working my corporate job and trading on the side and making money with Outlier and working from home since 2020, since COVID. And then they said, we're going to return to office. And I'm sure a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people on the replay have had this similar situation here. Maybe you guys in class as well. We're going to return to office. But listen, it's just going to be Tuesdays only. It's not going to be that big a deal. And I was livid. Absolutely, like, unbelievably livid. Like, what do you mean that's not a big deal? That 20% of my life sitting in the office, doing the exact same thing that I'm doing sitting at home, taking care of my family, living the best life, having all kinds of autonomy, and I have to go sit my backside in a chair every Tuesday for what? And then they're like, oh, wait, my bad. Oh, wait. What I meant was Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And I'm like, this is some horse crap here. This was a Trojan horse. Anybody who decided, oh, you know what, Tuesdays isn't that bad, they just got their whole lifestyle upturned at that point. I was beyond furious. And so that's when I reached to Mark and Mahesh, and I'm like, listen, either we make this thing happen or I'm out. And I flat out told them, I'm not going in. I'm not doing it. I built a lifestyle where I can work from anywhere, trading with Outlier, and I'm not giving that up. I hit a gold mine and I said, I am not coming out of here. I had money in the bank and I saw the potential of trading and working with Outlier. And as you guys know, I'm a God-fearing man, and I prayed that something would work. And I swear, Lord God came down upon me and he said, once you figure out YouTube, everything will change. And on January 5th, that switch flipped. January 5th, 2025, this year, everything finally changed. And I'm talking like 2,000 views, 4,000 views, 5,000 views, 8,000 views, 15,000 views. And I'm looking around like, what is happening? I've finally figured out how to use the YouTube algorithm in my favor. This is why you and I are here today. And that's how you found Outlier. Once YouTube started to work, I took the leap and I became a full-time trader and a professional YouTuber. And I'm also chief marketing officer at Outlier. I had money in the bank from trading, but I never felt ready, right? But when I had to return to office, I was like, this is never going to happen. No way. And that was my sign. It was take the leap now or regret this forever. And it was by far the best decision of my life. Hands down, full stop, the best decision of my life. Now I get to spread my passion for trading with the best tool to help traders save time, make money, and start winning with less risk. And we have thousands and thousands and thousands of success stories over in our Discord in the Share Your Big Wins. And it's all thanks to you for sharing how Outlier has worked for you, right? We have made Outlier unbelievably better because of you and your input. Now, enough about me. let's begin with the foundations of trading, because at this point, you've caught up on everything up to this point, and I want you to know just how much I appreciate all of you watching live, all of you here in class, and all of you watching the replay, because like I say, we're not going to hold anything back here. We are going to give it to you all, hands down, full stop. So, class, are y'all ready to begin? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to begin. Everybody with thumbs up? All right, very good. Let's do this. The foundations of trading. What does it take to be a successful trader? Now, I am going to be asking for participation. You guys, please, guys and gals, I'm going to have to get used to that. Raise your hand as we go, because I'm going to ask you, what does it take to be a successful trader? So let's do this. Raise your hand, unmute your mic, and let's do this. What does it take to be a successful trader? Rick, go for it.
Consistency and discipline.
That's a great answer. Consistency and discipline. I heard some random guy in a book about turtles. It was a really weird book about turtles, and then like they started talking about stock charts and trends, and where did they make the leap from turtles to trade? I don't know. Either way, that was one of his quotes. He said he could put all of his rules in the newspaper, but nobody would follow them because they didn't have consistency and discipline. You're exactly correct. All right, who else? Shane, go ahead. Let's unmute you there, my friend. There we go. Can y'all hear Shane? I can't hear Shane. I see he's unmuted. Shane, try one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Develop a trading plan and paper trade first for at least your successful paper trader.
There you go. That's a perfect answer. All right. Let's see. Carol, go ahead.
I think one of the things I found I wasn't doing was back testing and making sure that I understood the characteristics of all the different indicators, and then what was successful to further amplify, potential for success.
That makes total sense. How about Stocky Locky? Make sure you unmute your mic and let's hear what you got. I think there's a slight delay over to Stocky Locky, but he's going to get it. I trust him. Any moment now. Okay, we're going to have to move on. Art, go ahead. Senior Wahoo.
Psychology, and specifically the acceptance of losers. Being a coach, a lot of times it's all about my win rate. And so trying to accept losers is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sticking to the plan. Sticking to the plan.
Yeah, exactly. Stocky Locky, I know you finally came through. You want to try again? Go for it. Maybe. This is the fun part of going live. Okay. Stocky Locky, you are good. No stress. Let's wait till we have a better connection and we'll try again. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Mr. William.
Once you've developed your plan, you're going to want to back test it. You want to try to understand what market conditions that works in. And also not jumping between plans.
Creating an edge.
Yes. Trying not to jump between plans. Just because something might not be working right now. It's always good to back test and see why it's not working. But in order to get consistency, you're going to have to try something for an extended period of time. So you have enough data to make sure that is what the problem is.
Dude, well said, William. And also well interrupted by Stocky Locky. Having that edge. Yes, exactly. And it was really funny too, because like in the prep for this, I told you guys, don't pick your ears, don't pick your nose while you're on the live. And then of course he got stuck there for like a minute with a finger up in his ear. So that was perfect timing. All is good. Okay, anybody else? Mark, I think you had your hand raised, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say along the lines of the psychology aspect of it is just how to get out of my own head and how to get out, well, anyone, how to get out of their own heads, to
Yeah.
be successful at it.
What does that mean, get out of your own head? What does that mean to you?
It just means I'm constantly psyching myself out. It's like decision paralysis over a trade. It's like, oh, I like this. Should I do this? Well, I don't know. Maybe I should look at all these other different things. Confirm I'm doing it right because I don't want to lose. And then got to get out of my own way. So just click the button and do it, and then figure out if it works or not, and then adjust from there.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't want to lose. I'm afraid of losing. Right. And it may not be in that same wordage, right? But that's what it means. I'm afraid of losing. Right. And as a trader, that is a fear you have to just confront head on. And for me, I got so used to losing, right? That scar got so calloused over, it doesn't bother me at all anymore. I give no monkey donkeys if I lose. I also don't give any monkey donkeys if I win, right? And you'll eventually develop an edge where you understand that every one trade in particular, we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but that's why we have an edge, because an edge has to play out over X number of circumstances, right? X number of occurrences to develop that edge, right? You can flip a coin twice and it lands on heads both times. Are you really going to say, I have a foolproof coin flipping strategy? This is the best that I can't lose. And then your third flip, it ends up tails, you got nothing left. People actually go into the market with that mentality. And they're terrified of losing it all. In fact, I talked about my dad earlier. I remember he and I were driving, I don't remember where we were driving to, but we were driving down the road one day. This was just a couple of years ago. And I was telling him, the stock I was invested in. He's like, oh, cool. So this is the words that came out of his mouth. Oh, cool. So if the stock goes up, you'll make tons of money. And if it goes down, then you have nothing, right? No, that's not how this works. If it goes up, yeah, I can make tons of money. But if it goes down, I'm going to lose a tiny bit and then I'm going to get out. And I don't have to think about it anymore. It's not a binary thing. It's not a coin flip. It's not a 0 or 100. It's a potentially 100, but it might be -2. That's it. Right? When you come at it from a different perspective of it, it's not binary, all or nothing. It totally changes your life, right? It totally changes how you perceive things, right? So I wrote down a few things like you got to have a plan. You have to have a plan. You need to have a successful mentor or a coach who can guide you, right? When's the last time you watched an NBA game and they didn't have a coach? Probably never. Those guys are some of the highest paid, biggest, baddest athletes in the world. And they still have a 57-year-old, overweight, gray-haired dude telling them what they need to do to get better. Every successful trader needs some sort of coach for the accountability and to create that plan to help them. Now, I'm glad to do that for you guys, but also I don't want you to follow my plan. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't. I want you to come up with your own plan and trade that because my plan works for me. I know that it works for me, but I don't know if it's going to work for you. You need to have the right mindset. You need to have patience, right? So many people come into the market and they think, I'm going to be buying mansions by Thursday, right? Picking out my color of my Lambo by the end of the day this afternoon. And I'll probably have more money than Bill Gates by, I don't know, December 12th. They'll be fine. Like people actually come to the market like that, but they don't understand that they're going to lose, right? If every person who came to the market just won constantly, there would not be a market. Their market operates because someone thinks that something is undervalued, another person thinks something is overvalued, and they transact. That is how it works. But you have to have patience to figure out what trades are working and what trades aren't. You have persistence because you're going to lose, and you're going to lose a lot. A lot. There's a book out there called The Best Loser Wins. And that is by far one of the most succinct definitions of how to be a successful trader. The best loser wins. You need to have a passion for this, right? You can't do this half-assed, right? Like LeBron James, when he's playing basketball, do you think that he just does it as a side job? No. This is the hardest game in the world with the smartest people making the most money. And if you can't devote time and effort to learn and improve, you're not going to be successful. And you have to have a willingness to fail over and over and over. And then if things are working, you have to have the humility not to blow up your account. A lot of people go through what's called a boom and bust cycle. Very common to go through the boom and bust cycle, where things are working great. They figure out what they're doing. They're making money. They got a plan. They start implementing the plan. It's working. Oh man, look at all this money. I can't lose. And then they start doing wrong trades, making wrong moves. And then all of a sudden they've just blown up their account. This is unbelievably common, right? You have to decide what you're going to do on every single individual trade. And then honestly, you need to have a supportive spouse and family. That made all the difference to me. I had plenty of people tell me, you can't do this. But I had the right person by my side the whole time saying, I know you can do this. I know you can do it. You may not do it right the first time or the second time or I don't know how many times, but eventually you're going to get it and it's going to be worth it. Now, which is better, investing or trading? All right. So to you guys and gals, which is better, investing or trading? Better is subjective, of course. So raise your hand. Tell me what you think. Go ahead, Shane.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. I think it's not one or the other. I think it's kind of a combination of all of them, because each thing works different for everybody's situation. For me, example, I got some investments that give me passive income, monthly, and this is helping, or trading is helping boost that, that income. So, in my opinion, it's a combination of both, not necessarily one or the other.
Very good. Makes sense. What about you, Stocky Locky? I see you're unfrozen. And then he's going to immediately freeze as soon as I say that.
Can you hear me?
It's perfect.
So I'm with Mark on that. So I think it's all dependent on your ability to control the time that you've got. So obviously, if you've got a bit more time on your hands than trading, I think it's the way forwards. But those who want to go into a buy and hold and invest the money, I don't think that's a negative. It's just not going to be as lucrative as trading.
Makes sense. What do you think, Kostya? There you go. You should have it now.
I think it's a combination of both that's could be correct for the particular individual. I don't know if one is better than the other. To me, I would say it's complementary. So if you have investments that are bringing you consistent paycheck, but it's not very big, that can sustain you while you build up your trading career. So that could work for some. It will work for me. I would agree that trading is probably potentially more risky, but the reward could be much higher, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, there you go. Charlotte, what do you think? Which is better, investing or trading? Oh, hang on. Can't hear. You're still muted. Try again. There we go. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to go with trading. I don't think investments have the returns. I don't want to make 2, 4, 6% a year.
That makes sense. Y'all are probably going to think I'm weird and not going to like my answer. But let's go over the definition of investing and trading. Investing is to put money into a project or to buy property, shares in a company, etc., hoping to make a profit or get an advantage. And trading is the activity of buying and selling goods and services. They're the same thing. They're the same thing. Now, I wouldn't say one is better than the other. Some people would say that investing has a longer time horizon, but at the end of the day, you are buying and selling a share of stock, which is the definition of trading. You just might have a longer or shorter time horizon. So, but a lot of people don't want to be hung up on that term, right? They think of traders as gamblers. They think of investors as Warren Buffett, right? The two cannot exist at the same time, and certainly not in the same individual. No. You are either a trader or investor, and neither one of those are synonymous with the other. But honestly, they really are, right? I kind of came to this realization not all that long ago when I took my son to band camp this summer, and our director there. So I met my wife in college, like I said, but we were both in the band, and she played clarinet and I played bass trombone. And my son was going to band camp this summer playing saxophone. And the band director and my wife were like the bestest of friends. He was really a father to her in ways that she didn't have from her real dad. And she worked with him as like I forget what it's called. It's like the student work program or whatever. So she was in his office all day, every day, helping him with filing and music and whatnot. And they had a wonderful relationship. And then here comes Chris. And he's like, that guy? Really? And like he was not into me. Even though I was into her, he was not into me. It was just not like he had that like, nobody's good enough for her type of dad moment, right? But when I saw him over the summer, he was like, Chris, you turned out pretty good, huh? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. And he's like, professional investor, that is pretty impressive. And I was like, oh, you know what? I never really considered myself a professional investor. But I am, right? And so are you. I always really consider myself more of a swing trader. But I was like, you know what? Totally right. And that's why I also want you to call yourself a fund manager. You can call yourself a day trader if you choose to, but day traders generally have a different time horizon, right? They all have the same goal. And that goal is to have more money in your account today than you did yesterday and more money in your account tomorrow than you do today. Everyone's going to have a little bit of a different style. So I want you to consider yourself a professional investor, a fund manager, and whatever type of trader you want to call yourself, go ahead and do it. I support that. It's 2025. You can identify as whatever the hell you want to. Now, what is a stock? What is a stock? That's a great question. All right. So I'm going to start calling names. What is a stock, Carol?
Well, from a formal definition, I'll kludge it, but basically it's a piece of a financial instrument of the company. So you own a part of the company when you buy the piece of stock at the share level.
That makes sense. Yeah. Anybody else have a different definition? What about you, Mark?
I'm comfortable going with that answer. I like that one.
What about you, William? You had your hand raised.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, just what Carol said, but also you're actually buying partial ownership in the company, but you're investing in the company. They're going to be able to utilize that money that you buy the initial IPO at least, or if they continue to issue shares, that money can go right to, let's say, Apple or Tesla. And then you can resell that to another investor who wants partial ownership in that. So yeah, it can be a vehicle for increasing your wealth. And if you have enough ownership in the company, you might actually have a say so.
Yeah. Dude, I'm glad you brought that up. Those were points I didn't put in my slide deck, right? So why would a company issue stock to begin with? Well, they need to raise capital for one reason or another, right? It's crowdfunding. You think about it that way, issuing stock is crowdfunding. They need money for one reason or another, right? It's not just because, hey, all of our friends are issuing stock, we should go issue stock, right? Outlier needs to go issue stock, right? If we issue stock, we're giving away ownership rights to the company, to the investors. What we do with that should, in theory, improve the company by a measure greater than what those investors paid. So therefore, the price of the stock would go up. Really glad you brought that up, William. Honestly, very, very valid point. It's a tiny piece of the company that you can buy. Not every company you can buy, right? All kinds of companies. I know Outlier covers 2,600. We're adding another 6,000, but there's even more than that. And then there's stocks all over the world, right? They're bought and sold all day, every day. And when you own a stock, you are called a shareholder. And of course, I don't know if you guys know this, but stocks go up and down. It's a crazy thought. I know nobody's ever heard this before, but stocks actually go up and down. Unbelievable, right? Now, at this point, you don't get a physical item. Back in the past, or on special circumstances, if you go to a full service broker, you can request a stock certificate. Well, listen, that is a pain in the backside, right? Because now you got to keep up with that. You are a stockholder of record in their books, so that's not going anywhere. But what are you going to do with that? You're just going to like use it as wallpaper, right? When you are a asset owner, generally you don't have to get the physical shares anymore. It's not like you're going to Target and you're just filling your basket with all kinds of stocks. No. You're going through a broker, right? That's the next part of this. Where do you buy stocks? You have to open a brokerage account. Now, I know that's super basic, but there are people who don't know this. So that's why I'm talking about it. There's all kinds of brokers. Tradiers one, Robinhood, E-Trade, JP Morgan, Interactive Brokers, right? It doesn't matter. There's all kinds of brokers out there. And I get this question all the time. Which broker should I choose? Whichever one you want. Honestly, whichever one is the easiest for you, that you can navigate the platform, that you're okay with their fees, whatever. That's your platform. Doesn't matter to me. They all get you to the same market. It's like asking, what kind of car do you drive? Doesn't matter as long as you get from point A to point B. Now, brokers will charge fees, and they're very low compared to a few years ago. I remember, I feel like it was when my dad was first trading stocks way back when. I was single digits years old. I was probably 7 or 8. And I remember him saying, first he had to go into the Edward Jones office. And then the transaction fees were, $50. Like, hello, Mr. Ewell, that'll be $50. And then when you go to sell, hello, Mr. Ewell, welcome back, that'll be another $50. And then every share was, probably $5 of fees on top of that. So you buy 100 shares, that's $50 to open, $50 to close, plus $5 per share. So you're talking $600 just to do the transaction. So you better be right. You better be right. Now nearly everybody's almost free. No, if they're almost free, where do you think they're making money? Somebody raise your hand. Where do you think they're making money? Go ahead, Mark.
I was saying the spread between the buy and sell transaction between the two different parties.
Yeah, it's called payment for order flow, right? They have recognized that if you want to buy it, Mark, for $100 even, they're going to go out into the market. They're going to collect it for $99.99. Then they're going to sell it to you for $100 even, and they're going to keep that spread, right? It may be 1 penny. It may be more. Payment for order flow is real. All the brokers do it. It is unavoidable. What the difference is some brokers won't even give you a chance. When I say price improved, that means if Mark wanted to buy it for $100 even, and they bought it for $99.50, they're still going to sell it to Mark for $100 even. But a good broker will come somewhere in between. Maybe $99.60, maybe $99.82. But they're going to give you what's called price improvement. So Mark isn't actually paying $100 even. He's actually paying a little bit less. The scammy brokers are the ones that are going to be the ones that give you exactly $100 because that's what you wanted, right, Mark? Doesn't matter what we bought it for. We're going to give it to you for exactly that. And those fees are based on your order size, of course, right? The bigger you trade, the more you're going to have to pay, part of it. There's brokerage fees, there's regulatory fees, etc. Right? But honestly, at the end of the day, you can buy thousands and thousands and thousands of shares, and at this point, it might cost you $5, completely all in, $5 total, maybe less, to buy 10,000 shares. I know it sounds crazy. A lot has changed in the last few years. And what they do is you say, hey, I need to go buy XYZ, and they will go execute the order on your behalf. Now, back in the day, I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen the movie Trading Places, and there's all kinds of movies about it, right? Where they had dudes like literally screaming at each other, which I don't understand how this ever worked. but they were screaming at each other. I'll buy this and I'll sell you that. And let me write this down real quick. And you're going to buy this and I'm going to buy that. And open outcry system. And so you would call into your Edward Jones. Edward Jones would then call to John Smith down in the pit. John Smith would say, okay, I need 5,000 shares at Tesla at 42.50. And then he'd find somebody who would sell it to him. Then he'd call back and be like, okay, I got you filled at 42.75. And then Edward Jones would pick up the phone and call Mr. Ewell and be like, okay, I got you filled at $43. We got it. It was really close, but we got it. All right. That whole system, what a whole heap and helping full of trouble I could see happening in that system. Could you imagine the fraud that's going on in that every single day? Now it's instant. It's so instant. It's faster than the blink of your eye. Like before you finish clicking all the way down, that broker has your order has been filled themselves and it's now filling it into your account. Like it is so instant. They have spent I think the actual dollar amount was $1 Brazilian that they spent on data lines to move just a couple feet closer to the brokerages, to the exchanges, so that they could get these orders executed faster. There's a fantastic book called Flash Boys. If you haven't read or listened to that, it's a great listen, by the way. And talks about specifically high frequency trading, which is where we are today. And honestly, I think it's the best. Now, another question posed to you guys and gals: why trade stocks? Why would you want to trade stocks? Go ahead, Stocky Locky. Look at that internet. It's flowing so smoothly.
So much better now. So you want to benefit from the price, the company, when it's doing well and the price is going up. You want to benefit from that purchase of the stock.
Okay, so your answer for why trade stocks is you want to benefit from the price of the stock going up, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Not,
okay, cool.
Not down, just up.
Not down. No, not down. Rick, what would you say?
There's lots of liquidity.
When you can find it. Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. We'll talk about liquidity more in another episode, but how many of you have owned a boat? Raise your hand if you've owned a boat. Okay, a few of you. I have never owned a boat, but I have heard that boats are very difficult to sell because the market for boat buyers is very, very small. Now imagine being stuck with the stock that you can buy it all you want, but if you ever want to sell it, it's going to be a real pain. Right? That's what liquidity means. Someone's always going to be there selling it to you. They cannot wait to sell it to you. But if you try to sell it to somebody else, that's going to be really tough. Right? So why trade stocks? I put a few reasons here. To make money if the stock goes up in value. Dude, let's go all day, right? To earn extra money if the company pays dividends. I think Shane was saying earlier he has some dividend paying stocks or investments that he's getting some passive income from, right? To build wealth over time for big goals like retirement. To feel involved in a company, right? If you have enough shares, you can actually make some of the decisions. Who said that earlier? That was William who said that earlier. Very, very good point. And then because banks offer low interest rates, right? And stocks can grow your investments that much faster. I don't know what the average savings account rate is today, but when I was working with consulting with credit unions, the average savings rate was 5 basis points. I know not everybody knows what a basis point is. 5 basis points is 0%, 0.05. 0.05 percentage points. That was like the average savings rate. That would take you an infinity to retire. Infinity. However, stocks go up and they go down as well. Your job is to know when they're acting right. Okay. And you can therefore grow your investment that much faster. But also, people like the thrill of trading stocks. Now, I'm gonna caveat this right away and say, if stock trading is exciting to you, you're doing it wrong. It should not be exciting at all. If it is exciting, you're doing it wrong. Good or bad, right? Exciting can go both directions, right? There's good stress and bad stress, and you know, then there's stock trader stress, which is a totally different level of stress if you don't know what you're doing. That's because people in general are greedy and fearful, right? The thrill of a stock working in your favor, and then the fear of a stock not working in your favor. There's this great quote from Ed Seykota, who said, now Ed Seykota is one of the market wizards. He said, win or lose, everybody gets what they want out of the market. Some people seem to like to lose, so they win by losing money. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, that doesn't make any sense. Let me ask you this. Do you know anybody, you don't have to name names, but do you know anybody that always has a problem in their life and they can't wait to dump it on you? Do you know anybody who's like maybe always sick? Oh, I need the sympathy. Oh, can you believe? Oh, I hurt my back. Oh, oh, my teenage son. Good gravy. At all times, there is something that is ruining his life. Let me tell you, it is so. I was not ready for teenagers. Let me tell you, nobody prepared me for how much drama there was at all times. Constantly, right? But you know what's crazy? Is that he continues to do the same behavior because I guess that's what he wants. And that's what those people want. They want the sympathy. I don't want an exciting stock market. Not at all. I want to make money. I want to take care of my family. And I want to share the amazingness with you because I love doing this. So when I look at this and say, everybody gets what they want out of the market, I'm like, yeah, I want to make money. But I also understand that there are times where I'm going to lose money. There are times where I'm not going to do anything and sit in cash and not F up my portfolio. But everybody gets what they want out of the market. Some people get what they want by losing money. And to me, I've said this many times, trading is like a video game, right? I love to make the analogy of the first time you played Mario, you probably sucked real hard at it. I mean, let's be honest here. You show up, you're in your little like plumber outfit, you got your red shirt on, and then the turtle starts running at you. We're talking like level one, right? 1-1. And it's moving right at you, and you're like, oh, this is a cute little thing. And then you die. You're like, what the hell was that? I thought the turtles were my pets. Nope. And then the more you play it, the more you find more and more villains basically who are there to take you out. Their sole purpose in life is to make sure you die as Mario. But the more you play it, the better you get, and you understand the rules, and you become better and better and better. And then anyone can win once you understand how to play. Some people equate it to a game like chess. Some people say the market's a puzzle that needs solving. And just like any game of skill, it takes time to learn. You will have some early successes. You will have some early failures. And we're going to talk more about what that should look like. Should is a very loaded word here. But you need to go through baby steps, right? You're not going to go and perform brain surgery the first day you walk into medical school. So why do you think you're going to basically take Masters of the Universe money in the first few months of trading? A lot of people do. It's the hardest way to make an easy dollar. I think I heard Brian Shannon say that. Brian Shannon's on my shit list now, but he's the one who sent us a cease and desist order. But I think I heard him say specifically, it's the hardest way to make an easy dollar. And a lot of people think it's just so easy. And then here's another question. Why do people fail at trading? I'm gonna ask you guys and gals for some answers here. Let's go through here. Oh, okay, let's go with Shane. Go, Shane. You were right on it. Let's go.
Oh, the biggest thing I've seen people lose money in is selling options instead of buying them.
Shut up, Shane. You're just listening to me and you're like, I know Chris failed so hard. I want to get some salt and rub it in the wound. I know what you're doing.
I was right. I'm right there with you. That's the sad part about it.
Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, I was gonna say ego.
Ego. Yes.
At least for me.
Tell me more about that.
Just it's like an ego-driven person sometimes. It's like the success. You win. You're like, I got this. Like, I'm the man. I got this down. I'm making all this money, and then it starts turning against you, and you're like, oh. All right, I can fix this. I got this. you know, like I'll come back. This is what I have to do, and then you take another hit, and you're like, well, but
Yeah.
yeah, it just all comes back to, you know, the ego, and like what I said earlier, getting in your own head and
hmm
letting that get in the way, and being stubborn at the same time. And it's like, eh, you don't know it all. You're not that good. You're just scratching the surface, and there's a lot you need to figure out, or you're you're gonna get it handed right back to you.
Well, even when you've been in the market for 16 years, like I have, right? Doesn't mean I know everything either. If I could predict the future, then listen, I would have already bought plenty of private islands. Okay. I would have disappeared a long time ago. Mr. Senior Wahoo. I guess I shouldn't say Mr. Senior. I should go with just Senior Wahoo. Why do you think that people fail at trading?
They don't have a plan. They don't stick with their plan. That, you know, and FOMO and his stuff. They watch other YouTubers out there. Why would anybody watch anybody but Chris? But yeah, they watch other YouTubers, and they land up, you know, the Joker. I won't say names, but and the Vampire. You listen to them, and they've got the greatest and the latest stock tick, and you stock tip, and you just FOMO into it, right? And and you just gotta stick with your plan. Have a plan and stick to it, and don't waver.
There's something so sexy about somebody who makes a prediction, right? Oh, I predict this is going to be the next Nvidia. Oh, I predict the market's going to crash on, you know, October 7th, right? People want to have that sort of certainty, but in reality, those people don't know anything any more than you do, right? Well, Carol, what do you think is one of the reasons why people fail at trading?
I can speak personally to that, is not having an exit plan and thinking you do, but then you don't follow it, what minimal exit plan you did have. So that's what really blew out my account.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I get it.
So it wasn't so much on finding the right stocks to trade. It was knowing where to get out of the stocks, win or lose.
Well, it was, you know, I could, you know, the general rule is that you hear from all the traders is put your stop loss at like 50%. So you'll invest this much, right? But then put it at a stop loss at 50%. But then if you really look at it and you understand the ratios of wins to losses that you need to hit in order for you to be on the positive side, it really means that, okay, you got to cut your losses quickly. It's not 50%. It's, you know, it's a much less term. And what does that really mean when you look at the stock itself, the price, and then you start figuring in like the different indicators, like ATR as an example. That was big for me to learn from you. I've worked with ATR before, but it really didn't click. It was like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's the volatility of the stock price during the day over a given period. But, you know, what's the importance of that and really understanding that? And then how does that play into your exit plan? So
Right.
there's a number of elements, and it's just not a simplistic exit plan. You really got to understand and anticipate as you see it what the stock price, stock action, or the price action is, what's happening. So
Right. And you can have a great plan and then something you've never seen before happens.
yes, absolutely.
And then it's like, oh, I didn't account for that. Maybe I need to add that to my plan. Right. Like when we were trading Viking Therapeutics, and you know, I didn't even realize it was a healthcare stock because I don't pay attention to these things. I just look at the price. Is it going up? Sweet, I'm in. Right. I didn't realize that it was a buy the rumor type thing as they're about to talk about their weight loss drugs, and then they release their weight loss drug information. It's not even like an earnings call. It was more like a surprise. Hey guys, this is what's happening, and just totally tanked the stock. And it's like, whoa, okay, I need to adjust my plan to account so I never have this happen again. Right? That's and it's those type of lessons that you can either say, okay, it is what it is. I can move on from that, and I'll never repeat that mistake. Or, you know, you just get devastated, and you're like, oh, I get everything I want out of the market. Oh, I'm such a crybaby. Right? It's just, that's part of the game. Carol, I think I'm sorry, Charlotte, you were going to say something.
Position sizing.
Yes. In fact, when I hear people in the Discord, especially and they're like all worked up about a trade, my first thought is probably position size. You're probably too big, right? It has nothing to do with the plan. I don't know your plan at all, but I know if you're this worked up about it, you're way too big, right? You need to trade down to a sleeping point, right? If you can't sleep because you're so worried about your stocks, then you're trading too big. I have a great story about this. And I know you guys have all heard these stories, but the stories help people remember, right? I was putting Elliot to bed one day. Elliot's my 10-year-old. And I remember, I put him in bed and I'm walking out of his room and I just had this like cold sweat hit me all at once, right? I've never had cold flashes. I'm never going to have menopause, but man, it must have felt like this because I was like, I walked into an ice block. You guys know those beer caves, right? Where it's like you go to the convenience store and it's 29 degrees in the beer cave, right? Senior Wahoo knows what I'm talking about. And that was what hit me that day. And my overwhelming dread was, if the market crashes tomorrow, I am bankrupt. I don't know why I had that thought, but it certainly didn't feel very good. And I was way too big. Whatever that trade is that I had at that time, I could not sleep that night. It was just position size, right? If I had that same trade on, 1/5 of that size, let's just say, instead of 100% of my portfolio, 20% of my portfolio, be like, I can sleep through that. Getting to the sleeping point is a big, big deal. So I wrote down a handful of things, right? Number 1, not having a plan. Number 2, not following the plan you created. Right? I would have a plan to get out at this stop loss, and then it would go through that point. I'd be like, it's okay. I'm going to give it 50 more cents. And then I go through that and I'd be like, you know what? Let's just see what happens tomorrow. And then it would continue to go down, and it would be in the most obvious downtrend ever. And I had justification after justification as to why I couldn't take the trade. And then finally, after getting absolutely monkey hammered by that trade, I'd be like, okay, maybe I should close. And of course, that was when everybody else closes, and that's when it goes back up, right? That's how it always works. Not having stops. And if you have a stop, ignoring the stops, right? Not respecting risk. Not even understanding what risk means in a trade. Or trading too big. That was a great point by Carol earlier. Revenge trading. This didn't really happen to me, but I know a lot of people get into a lot of trouble because they're like, I just lost $5,000 in Tesla. I need to get it back right now. And they will make trades that they never planned on making because they're basically out to get the stock. Stock doesn't care. Stock's just going to do what the stock's going to do. You decided to put yourself in that situation. Over trading, meaning you have a plan, but you got nothing else to do. If I'm going to call myself a professional investor, by God, I got to be investing in something today. People do this. Being too greedy, or at the same time, being too fearful, right? FOMOing in, or panic selling, or becoming invested in the stock. Invested in quotes here because it's like, AMD has to be the best stock in the world. Does it? I mean, I'm sure there's lots of great stocks out there, and I'm not going to be buying into downtrend. When it finally does reverse 6 months later, I'll be interested in it then. But I'm not going to buy a falling stock. I'm not going to buy onto a boat anchor as it's going down. I don't know how far it's going to go down. Just because I like the stock doesn't matter. The stock doesn't care about you. Or a lot of people do this thinking they know better than the market, putting their price target out there saying, this stock is going to go to $500 a share, $75 in this one stock, and you'll be a millionaire by the end of the year. Clearly, they know something I don't know. I'll just follow a plan. Go ahead, William.
Thanks, Chris. And not just necessarily blowing up your account, but I think people can fail at trading because it becomes too emotional. So at first, you go in with these expectations. Oh yeah, Lambos, baby. I see these YouTubers who are, living in these giant mansions with Lamborghinis in the background. I want it. And then I start doing the trading and I realize, A, it's not that easy. And B, I can't step away. I want to look at every tick. I want to see what the stock's doing every second of the day. And that burns you out. And I'll tell you, I got excited when I first started following the channel, but I was getting into the stocks. I'm watching CNBC every day in the background while I'm working from home. And I'm like, after a couple months, you have to shut that down because you realize it's all you can obsess about. It's not going to happen overnight. Take your time. It's a process.
It's kind of like when people find a sports team and that becomes, you know, their life. SoFi Bros till death. I saw Art put that in the chat. SoFi Bros, stock's going to go to $75 a share, guaranteed. The CEO is going to get compensated. It has to go to that, right? So you're totally right in that regard. So yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons, right? And of course, it can go on and on and on, but we don't want that for you guys, right? We want you guys to be successful, and that's why we have Outlier University, right? And actually, to William's point over there, you know, you see the people who flaunt the lifestyle, and I'm sure that their product that they're selling is not 82 cents a day. I'm sure it's many tens of thousands of dollars. And then you got to wonder to yourself, where are they actually making their money from? Is it from trading? Are they making money with me? Or are they making money from me? Right? There's a huge difference in the world of stock trading education. And you know what's great about this? I think this is a great time to point this out. Outlier University is free, but with one caveat. If you're watching to this point, the way that you can pay for today's admission is by sharing with 5 people. The admission cost for today is sharing this video with 5 people, either the live stream or the replay. I want you to share this with 5 people. Now, opening a brokerage account, right? This is the super basics. We're nearly done, but we still got to get through the super basics here. You can pick any low-cost online broker. Doesn't matter. Does not need to be Edward Jones. Does not need to be Raymond James. It can be any broker. I don't care. Tradier, Robinhood, E-Trade. If you want, that we have a deal with Tradier where they give you $100, $150 refund into your account, something like that. All the details are here. But you don't have to have Tradier. Not at all, right? I would suggest reading reviews of all the platforms that you're interested in, right? And just like any bank account, right? You're going to have to fill out some paperwork. Then you're going to have to deposit those funds. And then you can start picking and choosing stocks to trade, because you have to have a brokerage account to trade. You can't buy stocks any other way except through a brokerage account legally. I'm sure there's all kinds of other stuff that you can do. But listen, I'm not teaching you how to be one of the Sopranos. I want you to be a upstanding, law-abiding citizen here, okay? Now, buying and selling a stock, we're going to do a live demo. A live demo. This is going to be so sick. Oh, frick. I just realized I've talked so long that I don't know if we can do a live demo, but we're going to try. We're going to try. So you pick the stock by using the stock ticker. So it's like their nickname for any stock, right? Like Apple is AAPL, Tesla is TSLA, Amazon is AMZN. And generally, a lot of the time, they make sense as to what they are, but not 100% of the time, right? I've seen some like MO, M-O, is the one for Altria Group. I don't even know what Altria Group is, but their ticker symbol is MO. There's trying to see if there's any on my list over here that I can think of. What are some random names that you guys can think of where it's like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. Can y'all think of any? Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, isn't Broadcom AVGO?
AVGO, yeah. AVGO, Broadcom.
I think Mo used to be Philip Morris, didn't it? Did it get renamed?
Hang on. PM is Philip Morris, though. Yeah.
Oh,
so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a thing, right? And I don't expect you to memorize them, right? Half the time I can't remember what they are, right? You just, you know, figure out a way to do it, right? I bet if I put, I was going to say it's probably searchable in whatever platform you use to trade on, right? So I could do like, but if I typed in the word Tesla, it would show up, yeah. Or if I typed in Robinhood, not only can you trade on Robinhood, but you can trade the Robinhood company. There you go. But anyway, let's see if we can actually get into this and trade still, or if it's too late. I think we might be able to. We're going to try. That was some practice that I was doing earlier. Okay, so we're full options grid. That's where we need to go. Okay, let me pull this back up here because I do have a handful of notes on this. So you're putting put the number of shares into the trade. Now we're going to position size later, but there's a couple of things I want you to look at, right? There's market or limit orders. We talked earlier about Mark buying stock at $100 even, right? That would be if he's using a limit order. Fill me at this price or better. I don't want to spend more than $100 even. But if you do a market order, they will fill you at the very next available price. That price could be 101.50. That price could be anywhere. And I have gotten hosed many times on options by trying to use market orders. So when it comes to trading options, we're not doing that today, but when it comes to trading options, never use a market order. Always use a limit order. When it comes to stock, you're not going to have an issue. Stocks are generally so liquid that you could buy and sell at the market and not have any issues whatsoever. So let's see what my next slide is over here. So let's do that right now. Let's hold tight. So let's go find, we're going to go buy SoFi. SoFi bros for life. I'm going to buy one share of SoFi. I'm going to buy it at market. And I don't know if we're too late to do it, but we'll try. So I'm going to hit one share at market buy. Should pop up over here. It's pending until tomorrow. Dang it. I talked too long today. I'm sorry. But it would show over here that it was bought. Okay. In fact, I can go over here to orders and you can see where I was practicing on this earlier, making sure I didn't screw it up. So buy one at market and it would show right there. And then let's say you don't want to own the stock anymore. You can come in and you can hit the sell button. Now, there are lots of advanced orders. I don't want you to try anything with that right now. We're just buying and selling. So you would go into your portfolio, and we can do this with SGov. We're not going to actually do it, but you would go over here, and it's going to give you some options here. Close at bid, close at mid, and close at ask. Now, if I were to do that, the bid is basically where you sell things at the lowest price. The ask is where you buy things at the highest price, and the mid is in between. Now, as you can see here, this is 1 penny wide the whole way, right? If we go to the options grid, if you're going to sell something and then buy something, it's going to have a much wider spread here. This is why you never, ever, ever use a market order on options. It always has to be a limit order. All right. So you're going to go into your portfolio and you're going to go, well, do I go bid, mid, or ask? Now, this is up to you as a trader. You get to decide. Or if you go close market, that again is going to fill you at the very next available price. And you may not want that price. It may be a terrible price. Or you could do send to ticket. Now, it'll pop up down here and it's going to say, okay, what do you want to sell it at then? If it's trading at $100.47 right now at mid price, you could come in and say, well, I actually don't want to sell it until it's 101.50. 101.50. And the broker's going to be like, all right, cool. Well, do you want to keep the time in force just for today or good till canceled? Forget pre and post. We're only going to focus on day and good till canceled. Day means by the end of today, if it's not filled, the order just disappears. It's like it never happened. Good till canceled is obviously what you would expect for good till canceled. It will stay there until Jesus comes back down to earth if you want it to be that long. And it doesn't hit that price. All right, it'll stay there literally forever. So what I like to do, one of the things I like to do is, you can say if I want to get out at $100, 101.50, you can set it for today because you're seeing it trending up and you're like, you know what, I would love to take advantage of that and get out at 101.50. Or you can say, I really can't watch this. If it hits 101.50 sometime in the next week or so, I'm going to go to Disney World. I'm going to leave it there. But if it hits 101.50, I'm going to get out. And then it'll do all the work for you. It's so great. It's so great. You can let your orders rest on the good till closed by doing that. So unfortunately, we can't do that live. And that's my fault for talking too long. But either way, you can let your orders rest by doing that. So bid closes at the limit order at the bid price, which is the lowest price. Ask is the highest price and mid is the midpoint, right? And it may be a penny, it may be a lot wider, but that's the middle point. Now, that doesn't mean you will get filled. It will then go wait there. It will rest there until price comes to that level, okay? So even if you say, hit me at the ask, of course I want to make more money, hit me at the ask, it's just going to sit there until price actually goes up to that point. Then it'll get filled. And that's when you're ready to close the stock, when you're ready to sell it, right? So you hit the buy button, you bought it, congratulations. And then at some point, you're going to want to sell it to capture those gains. And that's the process of doing so, right? Keeping it super high level. Listen, this was like week 9 before I mentioned this before. Okay. So in Bravo class, we're going to do things a little bit differently. That's my plan, right? So that is going to wrap our first class on the foundations of trading. Now, I'm going to ask you here in the classroom and ask you in the chat if you have any questions. Oh, Sean has a great one. Love. Yes, Southwest Airlines is Love because they're based out of Dallas Love Field. My very favorite airport, in fact, is Dallas Love Field. It is the best. It's small, it's easy to get around, and then we got DFW like 20 minutes away, which is like unbelievably huge. You can really appreciate Love Field compared to DFW. Okay, so if you have questions in the chat, put a hashtag Q and then your question. And then for those here live in class right now, we covered the basics here. But of course, I'd love to answer any questions that you have in class. So by all means, what questions do y'all have, if you have any questions today? You guys are all pro fund managers. Y'all know this stuff. Y'all know this stuff. I'm not seeing any. Oh, go ahead, William.
Sorry, I'm just gonna, be that guy. So not about stocks themselves, but, and you may have touched on this and I might have missed it in a previous video. Before you became an outlier or part of that team, how are you screening your stocks? How did you find charts that you were like, I'm gonna buy this stock. This one looks good to me?
A lot of it was through a different trading charting platform called TrendSpider. It does the same thing as TradingView, except TradingView is like hellaciously less expensive than TrendSpider. I don't know how TrendSpider's in business is so expensive, but I would run screeners. I would look for the 10 over 20, price over 50. I would look for the similar things that Steve Burns would talk about, right? And I would backtest those, and you could backtest right in the platform. And I'm sure TradingView has a way to do that as well. But I would backtest just chart patterns, and not patterns like, oh, it does this or does that. Chart patterns probably isn't the right word. Occurrences, right? If the 10 went over the 20 and price was over the 50, and then I got out if it went under the 10 or under the 20 or under the 50, what was my expectancy, right? And it really just came to trying to trade with the trend, buying deep in the money long calls. That was definitely my wheelhouse. But yeah, it was really that. And then a Fin Club came along. That was like the very first iteration of what Outlier could have been. And Fin Club was ultra basic. Like you guys are familiar with the bull and bear list. Imagine that was all you had. Just a name of a stock with a buy signal and a name of a stock with a sell signal. That was it. And I made some money with that for sure, but it was hard to just blindly trust a buy and blindly trust a sell. So what's great about Outliers, you can use that as part of your toolkit, and that's why we have the Outlier 9, because it's not just one thing in a vacuum. There's so much to go along with the stock to know when you have the momentum in your favor or when you don't. Outlier McDuck that's a great question. When will this be available on YouTube? Tomorrow morning. Just that fast. That's how we do things, right? I'll record one in the morning, that goes on in the afternoon. I record one in the afternoon, that goes on in the morning. That's our plan. Stockrunner, why do you use TradingView, and are there separate scripts for trading brokerage platforms and charting apps like TradingView and Outlier? Okay, so the reason we use TradingView, which, like I said, I used to use TrendSpider, is because our customers used it, right? And if I'm the only one who's using TrendSpider and all of our thousands of customers are out there using TradingView, it doesn't make sense to me. So earlier this year, I swapped over to TradingView, and there's still days where I'm like, how do you do this? Oh, right. Or I'll find something new. So I'm still learning the platform. And we do have scripts in our Discord. Deep Thought actually is going to be showing you guys exactly how to set those up. So you can use the free TradingView plan and the free scripts that Deep Thought's put together. So your charts will look identical to mine, and mine aren't that complicated, honestly. But our job is to make trading as easy as possible for you. Cody has a question for Rick. Any new songs in queue? The songs also live rent-free in Cody's head as well.
Yeah, I'm working on one at the moment, actually, that I put in the Bravo group. So everyone's had a sneak preview of it before everybody else.
Rick, I gotta ask, because I love the songs. How much of it is you just putting something in the script or putting something in the prompt And how much of it is you like in the back end making all the song edits and stuff?
Yeah, it really varies from song to song. Some of them require less manual rework than others. It just depends whether I'm happy with it. Some of them I've spent weeks trying to get them right, and others they just come out surprisingly quickly.
Oh,
It just
dude,
depends.
they're so good. Like I really like it. It's my current gym playlist right now. I go to the Outlier channel and we have a Outlier music playlist, and I just hit it on play and just enjoy myself. I love them. So you do great work, and I would bet that you have a passion for that as well, Rick, which is why the product comes out so good, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Warfish equals chillfish. That's coming from Mikey Mike, the market maker, one of our alpha graduates as well. JG says no pressure, but Bravo song.
Yeah, maybe.
Bill Allen has a off-topic question, but I'll answer it anyway because I love you, Bill. How is the upgrade coming towards the 6,000 new tickers? Do you have an ETA yet? So Mahesh and I talked about that yesterday. The amount of data basically overwhelmed our servers, and so he's on the back end working on that. It's when I tell you as fast as we humanly can, that is the answer. He said he'll have an update for me by Saturday, I think is what he said. Not to say that it's going to be ready by Saturday, because it is a huge task that we're not expecting. But as soon as we can, it's going to be there. Trust me, it is not dropped off. That is like top of the radar for sure. Plumber Fred says it's pretty cool to be able to see put names and faces together. I agree. Manny, Bravo class has more hair than the Alpha class. Oh, good point. And everybody's not wearing glasses as well. Yeah, thanks a lot, Manny. Appreciate you. Where's that permaban button? Brandon says, way to go, class. I agree. Y'all are doing great. So looks like all the questions. Let me double check that I didn't miss any. Yeah, I don't see any extra questions. I'm super proud of you guys. You are on a brand new journey that honestly can create generational wealth, right? You have the tools, you're learning the skills, and you're going to improve week by week by week. And by the time we get done with this, you're going to know everything that I know. I'm not going to hold anything. There is no financial benefit to me holding anything back. So the best benefit to me, honestly, is to give it all away, to give it all to you guys so you can be successful. And it's not just because we're being altruistic here, right? We want people to sign up for Outlier, right? This is one of the benefits of being an outlier, is being part of Outlier University, right? And it's 82 cents a day. It's unbelievably inexpensive. But the goal here is to make you successful. And because when you're successful, that lets Outlier be successful as well. So our success is a product of your success. And of course, I want you to be as successful as possible. So now you guys get to do this. You've seen me and Joe do it, and all the other Bravo class and Alpha class do it, but you know it's coming. Get your pointer fingers ready. If you are looking to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, what do you think you should do? Hey, click one of these buttons over here or over there. Outstanding. I love that, how that's become a thing. I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you so much for coming today. I will see you tomorrow. We'll definitely talk soon.